Hear the Sasquatch howling in the night. Paranormal beings come out to play. Feel that chill upon your neck. But do not fear when the Rougarou barks, because we'll follow you into the dark. We'll follow you into the dark.
Into the Dark contains subject matter and language that may be unsuitable for younger listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, greetings, and welcome to N.W.C.S. Into the Dark podcast. This is our Wendigo episode.
Wendigo?
Wendigo?
No, I thought we were doing reviews
Wendigo.
I was told it was Wendigo. I spoke with some experts.
I did. I studied on Winnebagos.
Oh, you did Winnebagos?
Winnebago.
I didn't. I did Mandingos.
Mandingos.
Oh boy.
What is a
This is
mandingo?
gonna be awkward.
I thought that's why Danny picked it. Was Mandingo?
Well, I could understand the confusion with Winnebago, but I really am having a hard time confusing them.
You flipped the W.
Yeah.
I thought it was a M, not a W.
Wonderful.
I did the dingo took my baby.
Wait, what?
The dingo took my baby.
Hey,
The dingo.
Hey, Danny. You're kind of in the / medical field, I guess you could say. What's the medical definition of a mandingo?
The mandingo definition, huh?
The medical.
What's the rating of this show?
It's PG-13. PG-13.
PG-13.
Hey, we're
Okay,
beyond that, Scott.
This is
it's a massive private member. How about that?
Oh,
a massive
I know
private member.
you would not believe.
What does
Is
that
that a
mean?
club?
It's near your no square.
Oh.
Yeah, in that space somewhere.
Oh, in that
You know.
space, yeah.
You would not believe where the research takes you when you research mandingos.
How long?
Well, I guess we're probably going to find out at some point.
How long
Hours
did
and
you
hours of
research
video.
that, Jesse?
Days and days and
I'm
days.
still
No
researching
comment?
it.
In the
Right
studio.
now.
In the studio this evening, we have myself. We've got Jesse.
Hey.
Scott.
We've got Tab.
Ahoy.
Joining us remotely, we have Dan Burr in his safe space room.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Rob, for some reason, wasn't able to make it to the studio, although we all had plans to be here, and we were all together last night, and it was a plan, and he's not here. But joining
Tell
us,
me how you really feel. Scott.
joining us remotely is Rob from Oregon with 14.7 Bs.
How do you pronounce the
Not
last B?
repeating.
The last B is silent.
Oh, okay.
The last
Wait, I have a
13
question,
bees are
though.
silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. What Tab changed up his little greeting? What is ahoy?
I don't know. I just kind of like the sound of it. I thought it'd be different today.
We're all still experimenting. We're only 40 some odd episodes into it. We're still trying to find our sign on.
Okay,
Still trying to figure it
that's
out.
fair.
And
I did switch mine.
I've never given the opportunity to have one because I'm the one that introduces people. So I don't have a sign on.
Do you want? Let's practice.
you want one?
Let's practice
Okay,
it.
let's practice.
And in the studio with us is Scott.
Yo.
That's the best you got.
Well,
That's
no,
right.
that's not the best I got, but this is new. So
Wow.
one
How
more
about
time.
You're gonna have to work on
What's up?
One more time.
What, you want to do it again?
Yeah.
Okay. And in joining us in the studio is Scott.
Hey.
Oh, now you just sound like Joey.
No, we got to work
Yeah.
on that.
No.
We'll
Yeah,
work
you got-
on it.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
work on it.
I changed mine because I put a clean shirt on, and I thought I'd just take it to the next step.
I'm
one.
totally
So-
lost on that.
So you've done
No.
37 episodes with the same shirt.
Yeah.
Wow. Speaking of starting fresh, Danny suggested the other day that we scrap our intro and we do a new intro song, completely new.
Not right away. You know,
Yeah.
just at some point.
Yeah,
Consider,
just
you
kind of
know.
ease
Changing
into it.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be episode 100.
You know what? You know what comes.
500.
You know what comes to mind, Danny, when I think of a theme song for this podcast.
Yeah.
Do you remember Rob and Big? Remember that show, Rob and Big?
Yes.
Baby,
I
let
just
me
watched that
tell
a
you
couple
about my
days ago.
best friend.
Best friend.
The one
We should
horse
recreate that,
wonder.
Scott.
What's that? Yeah, let's do
Can you
something like
skateboard?
that. Yeah. No, I don't know how to. Well, let me tell you a little skateboard story, Danny. When I was probably 16 or 15, I got a skateboard. The first 30 seconds on the skateboard, I fell head over heels and busted out my front tooth. So
good
I
God. Well,
kind of gave up on that.
We'll find
Yeah, I
another
do
hobby.
not remember you having a skateboard.
That's why I have
I know.
fake teeth.
Well, and then there was another incident.
it was actually, I don't know how old I was. It was at Woodhill Court. So
Yeah.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, there was another incident with your front tooth, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's the second front tooth that's
Oh,
fake there.
okay.
But that'll be another episode. We'll talk about that on another episode. The Wendigo. Anything new? Anything new with the group?
Yeah, we lost a dear member of our group.
Yeah.
He died.
Don't go too far.
I wouldn't
Don't
say we
go-
lost
no,
him.
come on.
No, he died.
He didn't die. He's moving out of town.
No,
And he will
It's the same
return.
thing.
Well, I mean, we all got together last night. He bit of farting,
Farting around.
parting adieu.
Farting.
Pardo.
Yeah, okay.
Pardo.
Anyway,
Apparently, it's still going on.
Actually, there was some farting.
there was
some farting going
there was a little bit of that, but yeah,
Farting.
we bid adieu to PD last night. Apparently, Rob tied one on a little too much.
He's not officially gone yet, and we did invite him into the studio.
Well, the whole evening we had to listen to Jesse talk about killing him.
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
why-
He's scared.
I know. Have you heard from Pete this morning?
I'm sitting there. We're all at the table. We're all kind of talking, having a good time. Then, ba-ding, I get a little text message, and Jesse's like, "Is it time? Are we doing it now?"
I got the whole ready.
I was like, "Bro,"
I got the whole ready.
and I was like, "No, it's not a good time yet. We gotta wait."
No,
Anyway,
yeah.
101 ways to kill Pete.
Oh, wait, do we have to do a different song?
I'm all in.
Yeah, so
He
he
did
was.
say he was
We called him out on that last night, Danny.
Yeah.
We called him out
Did you
on
record
the.
it?
No, we called him in on the "I'm all in," and then he tried to make all kinds
Well,
of.
I called him
excuses.
Mr. I'm all in. And he was
Yeah.
like, what?
He's like, you guys have been making fun of me for the last 10 episodes. I'm like, yep.
No, actually,
Obviously,
about
he
the
doesn't
last
even listen
14.
to our
He
podcast.
doesn't listen
You
to
know
us?
it.
What the hell's going on?
I know.
What about the other two?
You
Did they show up?
No.
No, I rarely listen to the podcast, but I was listening to it the other day. I was like, God, first of all, I'm kind of a mean guy.
Yes.
That's why we keep talking about turning over a new
Just a-
leaf.
just a big
second
bully.
Second
Little
of all, I noticed that Jesse is just an incredible bully.
No.
Yeah, just
Ding.
an incredible bully.
You didn't
Can you-
just figure that out.
So what we should do right now, based on my
Is switch roles.
no, we should all say one thing positive about each other, real quick, just because I
About
think that
each
I
other.
think everybody in this room is always wound so tight that we,
Dude,
there we go.
I think that's
Can you
shut
talk
your
into
hole?
the mic without smacking
see
your
what I mean?
mukbang on
See what I
the
mean?
microphone?
Jesus.
See what I mean?
He's bullying. Yeah.
It started.
We have to edit these.
Stop. Say something nice, Jesse, about somebody in the room or remote. Say something nice. I know it's tough.
My mom said if I can't say
Stop.
something,
Stop.
not to say
Stop.
anything.
Look at Tab. Look him in the eyes. Tab, look Jesse in the eyes. Look each
Can
other
we
in
get
the
some
eyes.
music?
Oh, I've never looked Tab in that. You have really beautiful eyes, Tab.
See,
Well, thank you,
it
Jesse.
wasn't that difficult. Now say something to me.
He's just staring at him. I could just.
Your face. I just want to punch you in the face.
That's not the goal we're trying to achieve.
You
here,
said
Jesse.
say something to you.
He said want to, but he didn't.
You're
say he
making
was
me
going
extremely uncomfortable.
What? Just because I'm
Touching-
holding your hand?
Touching me like
All
that.
right,
Well,
this is
whatever.
not working.
All right, it's not
Let's
working.
move
I
on.
tried to play
All right.
I tried to play some music for you guys, but some
All right. Anybody have anything new? Anything new with the group? Wow.
I should have something,
Wow.
but I don't have anything.
Oh, well,
That's
we
awkward.
got a bunch of things new. We just got back from
Well, What was that place?
What was that? Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
And let me say, the best thing about Wolf Creek, I'm going to throw this out here right now. I'm so tired because of COVID and us not being able to go and do things that we're going to be able to talk about something else besides Goldfield. Like if I hear the word Goldfield, we have talked about Goldfield at nauseum. That's one thing I did notice on listening to these podcasts.
That's
but
true.
we have Wolf Creek.
But we love it there.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Goldfield.
We love it.
I love Goldfield, and I'd like to go back, but it's always like Virginia City,
Goldfield Radio.
I mean, we've been there like
We have
742
like a
times.
triangle.
Yeah, so we're gonna have something new to talk about now that we're starting to get out a little bit. What do you guys? Just real brief. We're gonna do an episode on our reveal there, but what do you guys think overall about our trip to Wolf Creek?
Yeah, it was fun. I love the place. I liked all the history and.
The building was awesome at night with their lights and stuff outside.
Yeah.
They have like these old lantern type lights on the outside that they kind of flicker like a lantern.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty neat.
Really set the mood.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool building.
Bow, bow, chicken.
I thought it was cool. Yeah, for sure. And having access to the restaurant and there, the people that worked there were great.
They were so awesome.
Even the people that were there as guests, or the people walking through the tour. I scared the crap out of one lady. I was just sitting in a chair inside of the Clark Gable suite listening to some, and she came in kind of looking and so I don't know if it was because I'm me or because of just the environment in general. So.
Probably because she walked into your bedroom.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
she mistook you for Clark Gable.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
With
can't.
better breath,
I
maybe.
can't.
No.
No.
No. It's no.
Rob,
I tried.
Rob, what do you think of Wolf Creek?
My thought is there's a fine line on what I liked and what I didn't like. Like a highway divides what I liked and what I didn't like.
Oh, that's true.
Like
You didn't like the 24/7 convenience store?
I mean, it was entertaining. It was like I felt like we were like over at the Wolf Creek Inn. We were like back in time, and then we're looking through a portal of what the future looks like, and it just wasn't that good.
It wasn't impressive.
You mean our future is methed out people with no teeth yelling at each other? Is that?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, there was campsites and stuff all over town.
I have to say,
but
Wolf Creek,
I really
amazing.
liked it. Yeah, I
The
really
town?
did like the place.
Not town, not so much.
Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. No, the building, they did a really, really good job at restoring it. I think they restored it back in
70s.
they started in the 70s. It looks amazing. I love how they brought back that piano, which we'll probably talk about later. It's one of the original pianos that was built in the same year that the hotel was. So yeah, it was really awesome.
Yeah, I think we still have to review some of our evidence, but I think right out the gate we got some pretty good stuff that we don't necessarily have to review. But they had really good Brussels sprouts.
Oh, they were amazing.
I hate Brussels sprouts, and those
You and your
I ate them twice. They were so good.
Anyway, that was the most memorable to me. The
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. Let's move on. We're gonna do a full episode on our reveal for there, and I think we have an episode from there, don't we? Did that get uploaded, Danny?
You know what? I did not. I'll do that today.
Let's do that. All right, Danny, what do you got for us?
All right. Well, so today's episode,
Winnebago.
Mandingo. Yeah. So a Mandingo is a warrior with a huge. Oh, wait. Sorry.
What?
No, you're on
that
track.
was Mandingo.
I was on the. I was on the wrong tab again. Sorry. Let's start over. Can we fix that in post?
He said tab.
Yeah. Let's start over. So, the Wendigo, Wendigo.
How do you pronounce
The experts that I talked to said Wendigo.
Okay, Wendigo.
I've been saying it all wrong.
I don't know if it's a long I or not, but there's no second N is what I always get confused on. That's where I always want to add a second N. There's no Ingo. It's ego or
Ego.
or Wendigo. I say it wrong sometimes. So Wendigo or Wendigo.
What surprise? Hey, hold on,
Legend.
just 1 second, Danny.
Oh my God.
What surprises me so much about that is that the Wendigo is like the easiest to say ever, and you like nailed the beast of Jernderbernden, like corrected us, and that's like a 16-syllable word. It's
what was
hyphenated.
What was it?
The beast of Jernderbernden.
Danny, can you clarify?
Gévaudan.
So
Gévaudan.
he's
Gévaudan.
referencing French names like it rolls off his tongue, but he can't say Wendigo. Wendigo, the most simple term.
What's
it's
his name? Oh,
all right. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm low on coffee this morning. So the Wendigo, it's a mythological cryptid legend that comes from native tribes that are centered in parts of eastern Canada, northeast U.S. coast, and the Great Lakes area. The legend exists in areas that are primarily speakers of the Algonquian family of languages. I get that one right too. That shared similar dialects and life experiences. So apparently there's two different types of versions of this creature or being. Some say that it's a physical being or a monster that kind of takes the shape of a human form, and others say that it's generally a malevolent spirit that takes control of human bodies, of people that are generally overcome with selfishness or greed or too self-involved in some way. And I was thinking about this as I was reading this. I'm like, oh, you guys maybe remember some of our malevolent spirits from our Angels and Demons episode. I think maybe we need to do another one of those again if you guys are up for the research. But
I'm still trying to get that one out of my mind. Still in counseling over that episode.
All right. Well, maybe we'll leave it for now. So just some generalized description of the Wendigo. It's a large, you guys remember the term for a human-like creature? So it's a long word. It's probably a 13-letter word. I'll give you a hint. Anthropomorphic creature with gray, decaying skin, long claws and teeth, and sometimes depicted with antlers or the head of a stag. Ooh. It's said to have an insatiable appetite and feeds on humans or anything else that gets in its way for that matter. Some say that it is reported to grow in proportion to whatever it eats and is reportedly able to, that's kind of a difference between some of the other creatures we've seen before, but able to open doors and also mimic human voices calling for help in pursuit of its prey.
That's creepy.
Yeah. And if you think about a lot of the creatures we have, it's pretty, I don't think I've heard of any of them being able to open doors for that matter, but some areas of pop culture, you might hear of the Wendigo. If you remember the Pet Sematary movie from 1989 by Stephen King.
If it wasn't for that damn road.
Yeah. That creature was terrorizing the community, was actually the spirit of the Wendigo, or Wendigo, however you guys want to say it. Also, there's reported this Wendigo psychosis, which is reported to having related to people eating human flesh, where they become kind of take on the same creature features that we talked about, wanting to eat and devour human flesh continuously from there. So my question for you all, how do you defeat the Wendigo?
You run really fast.
I would say fire, but I think that releases the spirit and doesn't actually kill it.
Yeah,
I'm right.
Weakened state.
Oh, somebody did some research, huh?
The weakened state. Well,
how do you weaken it?
I'm not really sure. I think it's right after a feeding. It's at its weakest moment.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Some say. That's true. Very similar to some of the other legends that we've seen. The key is silver. So one of the reported formulas for defeating a Wendigo is silver bullets that can be used to put that creature into its weakened state. And then you have to cut out the heart with a silver knife and chop it up into little tartar pieces and put it inside of a silver box, and then bury it inside of a church.
Damn.
And then also
Do you have
chop up
to get permission for that?
I wouldn't tell anyone about that. That might be a little weird.
Yeah.
And then chop up the rest of the body with a silver-plated axe, and then salt, like Salt Bay. You guys remember Salt Bay? You drop a little salt.
Wait, hold
the
on,
body
hold
and then you
on,
burn
hold
it.
on. Silver axe.
That's a lot of silver.
Yeah.
I know,
That's
this is
a
going
lot
to get
of silver,
expensive.
Yeah.
We need
And then
the...
you burn the body after that, but
And then you eat it whole.
So
and then you eat the whole. Yeah.
if I'm out metal detecting and I come across a really
silver-
strong signal and I start digging
You
and there's
know-
a silver box and I didn't know this information and I open it, what happens?
You just gave me goosebumps, Cap. That is
Pandora's
excellent,
box, man.
excellent idea. Maybe we should add that metal detector to our tool shed.
Already have one.
For
Yeah.
some of these adventures.
I've got
Yeah.
two.
We've got
we
a top of the
we
line
should
one.
get out. Yeah. All right. Let's get out and go find the Wendigo box.
Well, what happens if you open it?
I don't know. We're gonna have to
Pandora's
find out.
box, man.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the legend comes from. What do you guys got? What do you think? Wendigo
Danny,
or
or the group, how do you cure Wendigo psychosis?
Oh my goodness.
It's an actual medical condition. You can have Wendigo psychosis.
Ibuprofen.
No.
Take 2 and call me in the morning.
There's
Do you cure it with a mandingo?
Whoa.
What?
Oh.
Wait.
Good. Hey, you know what?
moving on.
The
Moving
good thing is we have one of those in our group. We have
on.
that. So I don't know personally, but I've heard.
Yeah. This is awkward.
So what is the cure, or what do you
So
do?
I guess what they've done in the past to cure people of the psychosis is they make them eat or drink the fluid from fatty animals, and they know if it's working if the victim, or not the victim, the patient starts vomiting ice.
What?
Yeah.
Has this been documented at all?
That's how they know it's working.
Yeah, that's how they know it works. Yeah.
And what country
Wow.
does this?
There's actually a couple cases of Wendigo psychosis. There was this in the late 1800s. This guy named Swift Runner. He was out in the woods basically with his wife and like 5 kids, and he came back in like the spring and said that his entire family starved to death, and he was like 20 miles from like a resupply place. And so they went out to where his camp was and found all the bones had been from his family, like picked clean. He broke open the bones and sucked the marrow out.
What?
And instead of like treating him for the psychosis or chalking it up to he had to do it to survive, they executed him.
Well, cannibalism, that causes
And it eats it whole.
And then
that causes problems.
yeah, I'm sure there's
Yeah, it causes Wendigo psychosis.
Yeah, I would think so.
yeah. Oh, and it also causes your hands to shake. You get like
Uh-oh.
very shaky hands from eating human flesh.
Do we need to have everyone hold their hands up and see?
What movie is that from, Danny? What's that?
Hand shaking. from
Hand
eating
shaking,
humans.
eating human flesh.
Silence of the Lambs.
No. Killing me.
Uh,
It has another.
jeez.
It has another Mandingo that is in the movie.
Another Mandingo in the movie.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Very popular.
Eating human flesh. Shaking hands.
It's based on the Bible verse or book.
I'm low on coffee today.
Book of
I
Eli.
got nothing. Oh, geez.
Come on, man! You need some more
I
coffee.
knew that one. I do.
There was another
Did you
case.
know- I own that movie, by the way.
Was a guy named Jack Fiddler, and he was known for defeating Wendigos. And in the early 1900s, him and his brother were arrested in Canada for homicide by killing all these people that he claimed were Wendigos. And his brother was sentenced to life, and then Jack committed suicide in prison.
It's interesting that the cure was, how you know that the cure works is when they spit up ice.
Yeah.
Because the Algonquian legend describes
What?
describes the creature
What?
as a giant with a heart of ice. Sometimes it's thought to be entirely made of ice.
Oh.
Its body is skeletal and deformed with missing lips and toes. So it would make sense that
It starts vomiting ice.
you would start vomiting ice because that would be the thing coming out of you, I guess. So that's kind of interesting that the Algonquian legend describes it that way.
Unadied.
Aokigahara. That's interesting, though. That's interesting that somebody describes it as a heart of ice.
Algonquian.
Okay.
Bless you.
I'll take your word for that. What else you got, Jesse?
Lovely.
That's all I got.
Tab, what do you got on the Wendigo?
I'll have to be honest, I wasn't able to do much studying.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you
Take it till
at
you make it,
well,
Tab.
did you at least watch the movie, Tim?
I did watch the movie.
There you go.
I do know that
Well, then,
the
take
dri-
it till you make it.
the drive-through there is open generally 24 hours in most states. They have chili.
Wait, are you saying Wendy's?
Yeah,
Are you saying
Wendy's.
No.
This
it's
episode is on Mendingo's tab.
We got.
Scott.
Where's our notes? Where's our
I
notes,
did
Scott?
mine
We
on
gotta start writing
Winnebago.
stuff down.
I can.
I could tell you who started Wendy's.
Dave?
No, but it's a pretty freaky looking creature. You know, the depictions of what some people have come up with. I think the ones with the horns is the scariest. I think.
It looks like a werewolf crossed with a
sheep.
deer or
A
something.
decayed deer head.
I think we should go up to the Great Lakes area.
Does anybody know,
know,
where
I
there's
actually
sightings
meant to
of
look
this
that
thing?
up. What some of the most recent sightings were. I meant to look that up, but I did not do that in my research. But allegedly,
I tried in my
reported
research and
Canada.
I couldn't find any sightings.
Yeah.
I saw that there were some books that you could buy.
That's because all the people that saw it were eaten.
Well, that's probably a good point.
And
Fair.
apparently,
How do you suppose the stories got conveyed then?
by Wendigo hunters.
Because all that was left was their cell phone footage.
Yeah. Good point.
Some found footage.
You got anything else,
On a
Tom?
side note,
Well, there's
I
a
really
video
think we
game
should
that
make
they have out that you can hunt this thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It looks pretty freaky. I came across a lot of that.
some video game
Yeah.
footage.
Go ahead, Danny. What do you got?
I was going to say on a side note, I think we should actually, I really think we should set up a one of those competitions where you record a movie and like, you know, 24, 48 hours, you have to shoot it, edit it, and then submit it within that time frame. We should do a found footage movie. That would be fun. I'll keep
Oh, like a
looking, see if I
cam
can find
movie?
one.
Hand
Yeah,
cam
you
movie?
just-
Rob's
yeah,
Rob's
you
already,
can shoot it however you want. But
Rob's already got a really good start to that with that amazing footage he got for us at Wolf Creek when he was exploring
Oh, when
the,
he got lost?
when he was exploring the woods and got lost.
Yeah.
I think
was
we
deep.
definitely need to post that one up. Put that on our
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
I think you were in the same place Ghost Adventures went, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
When they got lost?
deep in the woods. Deep in the woods.
Yeah. Deep.
Do you guys know that there's a Wendigo board game?
Oh, don't tell
Oh.
Scott that. We'll be playing it next.
Yeah, we
next
should
time
get
we're over.
the Wendigo
Oh.
board game because the basis of the game is each player takes on the role of like an Eagle Scout, but one player is secretly the Wendigo spirit, and its point of the game is to uncover who the Wendigo is, and if not, each round the Wendigo kills off one of the scouts, and if he ends up killing all of them, then the Wendigo wins. If you unmask them, the players win.
It sounds like an amazing Friday night. Next time I come up, we need to get that.
Yeah, and it's not that expensive.
There is a Wendigo festival in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Every year they have
That sounds cold.
Wendigo festival. It's September 30th, October 1st, and October 2nd.
Do you have to be a certain size to go to that, or
What does that mean?
Do they allow
What is that supposed to mean?
smaller Wendigos to go?
They have live bands, food, concerts, costume contest. It looks like it's kind of a Halloween festival, but it's called Wendigo Fest.
Isn't that in and around the same time as the Rougarou Festival?
No. Yeah, actually it is. It's October, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in October. The Rougarou.
I say we hit the Wendigo Festival and then jaunt down to the Rougarou Festival.
So just hop in base camp, drive to Wisconsin, and then from Wisconsin to, oh boy, Louisiana.
Good.
I'll plot that out. I'll plot that out while we're talking.
Okay.
It's going to take a week to get.
Rob, what do you got?
I found the depiction of it, the Wendigo or Wendigo or however you say it, very disturbing. Half human, half whatever. I don't even know what the other half is, but especially in the movie, how they depict it in the movie was pretty. It seemed like the opposite of what you were saying, where the heart or the inside was ice. In the movie, they depict it as burning and hot and glowing and would actually burn if you touched it. So, but it was very freaky looking, and it would haunt your nightmares. And I believe this was tales from indigenous tribes that came up with the whole story of this. And it's kind of like one of those things, the Rougarou and everything else. I'm not sure exactly what the storyline is for it, but it's definitely something that could haunt you at night. I don't have too much as far as other than that, I guess.
Did anybody notice the similarity of the depiction of the Wendigo to like other creatures, the Rougarou? They all kind of have like that same figure, kind of creepiness.
Half animal, half animal, half human.
Versus battle. Who wins? The Wendigo versus the Rougarou.
Ooh.
Rougarou, hands down.
Really?
I would pay to see that. That'd be a good one.
I don't know. That'd be a hard one.
The Rougarou
Wendigo
would
has,
kick his ass.
Yeah? Why?
Yeah.
Well, they both
Just
are
because it's your
susceptible to silver, right?
Yeah.
The Rougarou and the Wendigo.
So we drop one silver knife in the middle of the room, in the middle of the cage, and let him go at it.
Well,
I feel like the Rougarou would be smarter, because the Wendigo is just driven by
insatiable
desire
need to
eat.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
flesh.
I don't know about smarter, because a Rougarou can't count past 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he'd be cunning.
What about the Wendigo's ability to regenerate? That
there you
would
go.
play a role.
That is a thing.
I think the Wendigo would just mouth punch that Rougarou.
Yeah, actually, the more I think about it,
Sit down.
I think all these mythical creatures, they represent something. It says here, represents extreme greed, gluttony, and excess.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
I don't know. I think we should have like a wrestling melee, like, when they like the wrestling where they put all of them in there. We'll get Bigfoot and the back squatch and the Wendigo and the Rougarou. Get them all in one little ring.
like a cage
Have them all
match.
go at it. Yeah, totally.
Like WrestleMania.
that sounds
So-
like Pokemon.
Yeah.
What if the creatures are like distant cousins? The Wendigo is like the northern part. He's got big antlers, is in the wooded areas or whatever, and then the rougarou is the southern cousin that's in the swamps that has smaller, no antlers, that type of thing. They could be distant cousins.
And then it was like, oh my God. What if we found out it was just some random guy, like just walking around the world? It was like, hey, you know what? This is what I saw. And he just like changed it up and called it different things around the world.
And
they're all very similar. That's going to suck if we find that out.
You got anything else, Rob?
Nope.
Hey, just a side note really quick. That trip, 85 hours round trip.
85 hours?
85 hours.
Wow.
That's no stops.
From St. Paul to Manitowoc, down to Houma, back then to Oregon. Yeah.
Wow. That's a long
I think
trip.
we should
85 hours.
Let's do it.
I'm not sure the base
I
camp
think
could
we
make
should
that.
hit something in
It would
Florida
make it.
too while we're at it.
But with all the stops for gas and food, it would take us a month.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much that would cost right now with the price of gas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's 5,737 miles. Let me calculate that. Hang on. How much is gas?
550 at
And we get
10
eight,
miles to a gallon.
I'd say
Wait,
eight,
it's a diesel too, so
Yeah, 550.
Even more.
Yeah.
which is crazy. It's cheaper to make diesel than gas.
The Ojibwa tribe,
the what?
Ohibwa,
Oh, there you go.
Algonquian.
Bless you, Scott.
described the creature as a large creature as tall as a tree, with a lipless mouth and jagged teeth. Its breath was a strange hiss, its footprints full of blood, and it ate any man, woman, or child who ventured into its territory.
Other than
those-
the height, that sounds just like Scott. Other than being tall.
The lipless.
Yeah, the lipless, toothless.
I was thinking Clark Gable.
Oh.
but-
Stinky breath, Anyway, sorry. Continue.
$3,151, by the way.
12 grand. I'm sorry, Scott.
That's round
We
trip.
don't have that enough in our account.
We'd have to sell one of Scott's kidneys.
Sometimes the Wendigo chooses to possess a person instead, and then the luckless individual becomes a Wendigo themselves, much like some of the other things we talked about. Hunting down those he once loved and feasting upon their flesh. According to the legends, Wendigo is created whenever a human resorts to cannibalism to survive. In the past, this occurred more often when Indians and settlers found themselves stranded in the bitter snows and ice of the North Woods. Sometimes stranded for days, any survivors might have felt compelled to cannibalize the dead to survive. Other versions of the legend cite that humans who displayed extreme greed, gluttony, and excess might also be possessed by a Wendigo. Thus, the myth served as a method of encouraging cooperation and moderation. Again, much like all the other ones that we talked about. In fact, the rougarou, they're just kind of saying is now their spokesperson for, be kind to the forests and do what the rougarou says. So there seems to be a
got
lot
a
of that
purpose.
with these. According to the legends of the Nahanni Valley, a native author and named Basil Johnson once described the Wendigo in his masterwork. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation. Its skin pulled tightly over its bones, with its bones pushing out over its skin. Its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into the sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from separations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. It's funny, death and corruption.
Well, if you stay on the keto diet for too long,
That's
you
what-
might end up looking like
Look
that.
like that.
Not the.
Who
thought
did
it
we
was a vegetarian
who did we
diet.
miss here?
I think we missed also, some say that it can control the weather through dark magic.
That would be a handy skill to have.
Yeah, it'd be sunny all
Oh,
the time.
there goes the Rougarou.
Is that
Yeah,
like its?
sorry, buddy.
Is that like its
Yeah.
superhero
It's like
ability?
a superpower, yeah.
Superpower? Can control the weather. What do you guys got? Anything else?
You guys ready to move on?
Got a giant silver bullet.
Wow.
Well, Rob's ready.
Rob's bringing the artillery rounds.
You need to get that
It's like
back.
a Mario bullet.
You need to put that back in Julie's room.
Whoa.
Oh, jeez.
You guys ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
In a quiet town, in a small studio, it's Northwest Curiosity Society's movie review.
What is storytelling? Storytelling started with our indigenous people. Can anyone give me an example of a myth or a story they're afraid of? Lucas. What's going on?
We found a part of a man in the woods today.
Part of the man?
I guess the other half was found in the mine. All this has got to be an animal, right? No animal that I've ever seen.
Something is going on with Lucas. These drawings belong to a student of mine.
This is what was in the mine. It's a diabolical spirit.
Excuse me, this is a myth.
For you, yeah.
Way nakanigejik o wisa genigowat Wendigo. Aki
He's not your responsibility.
Aminuan
He has no one. He is my responsibility.
He'll come for me. He needs me. He's here.
Great movie pick by Dan Burr. Jesse, what'd you think?
That was a
Thank
good
you.
pick.
So, after last night, I got home at like midnight. I hadn't watched the movie. So, I got ready for bed, laid in bed, turned it on, and I only made it like 15 minutes into the movie. But did anybody else notice, did anybody else say at the very beginning there was the kid and he was waiting for his dad or whatever in the truck, and they showed the scenery? I'm like, that looks just like Oregon. And then it turned out that I was right. It was supposedly taking place in Oregon. So I was like, man, that just the weather and the mountains. I'm like, that looks just like Oregon.
No, it doesn't.
It did.
No.
You don't think so?
I did think the same.
Didn't you? I was like, man, this looks just like Oregon.
Yeah.
I thought it looked more like Canada or Washington.
Oh, well, that's pretty close, Tab.
I know, but the mountains were, the valley, it was just, yeah.
It's weird. I kind of thought it was like Kansas.
What?
To me, it was the misty, cloudy.
Did you watch the
all
movie,
the big
Scott?
green trees.
Yeah, I watched the movie.
What was that you were watching this morning when I walked in?
I don't know.
What happens in the middle?
I don't know how the internet works.
Jesse?
That's
it looked like Oregon.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I think Scott should go first.
Why don't we make
What?
this more seamless and let's just talk about the movie instead of what did you think? What did you think? What did you think? What did you think?
Okay.
Why don't we do it that way?
What do you think?
I'm always up for something.
Scott,
I'll be
what
right
do you
back. I got to pee.
Oh, conveniently. There goes Scott. He's out of here.
Yeah. So
Are
I
we
only,
taking a pause?
I only made it like 15 minutes through the movie before I fell asleep. But
I had a hard time following
Was
the beginning of the movie because I was confused
What
about
they
the
were-
two boys. I was thinking the second boy was the first boy in the movie, and
Yeah, that was a little confusing.
yeah, it took me.
Oh, yeah, I
it
was
took
totally
about 30
lost,
minutes
too.
into the movie to finally figure it out.
what? Don't I didn't real. What was the dad doing at the beginning? Were they like stealing stuff from?
No, they
there?
were making meth. I think.
Is that what they were doing?
Yeah, it was a lab.
Lab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abandoned mine.
Yeah.
Which
And
I
then,
think this was set in. Was it set in Wolf Creek somewhere?
Yeah, probably. That's the first thing I thought. Actually, that's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jesse.
I was also
Or
confused.
Rob. Sorry. One of you.
No, I was also confused on the relationship of the main one of the main characters, the sheriff, and the female. I was feeling like I thought they were like they had split up because they were divorced, or it was just weird that they did it that way. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, as Danny says that there's a few jump scares in there, like when they were in the shed. Those ones that really got me, but
Yeah.
it was pretty good though.
And it was just filmed very dark. I mean, everything was dark.
Like the
it was like
lighting.
dark all the time. Like even like
the lighting was
just
it's
about
a very Oregon movie.
yeah, just about yeah, yeah. They got that right, but it was actually filmed in British Columbia, Canada.
Right.
So I
Yeah,
was right.
Of course.
Well, I think it's
not about
Oregon to
being
me.
right, Tab.
I think it's cheaper to film up there for some reason because they do a lot of stuff in Canada, as far as
They're probably
movies.
nicer anyway.
Probably.
What do you think, Scott? Oh, he's
Good
not
talk.
here.
Yeah, good talk. Should we pretend? Here, let's try again. Ask Scott what he thinks.
What do you think, Scott?
Well, I think it was great, and I didn't get a chance to watch it, but
No, he would say, yeah, it was a very dark movie. I don't think it was filmed in Oregon. I think it was filmed in British Columbia, in Canada. And I don't think I couldn't figure out the boy thing. It was actually brothers.
You're just a bully, Tom.
And it took me about 30 minutes to figure it out.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Which
Danny?
is funny because
He's gonna be
this is
so
the
mad
funny
when
part.
he listens to this.
Yeah, I know, right? That's I was like, oh, he can't hear us, but it's funny that they actually shot it in British, well, not necessarily the area where it was set, but or where the legend came from, but shot in BC, but set in Oregon, and not necessarily associated to the area where this kind of
The creature actually exists.
the creature, right. That being said, I thought I was a little excited to hear, a movie set in Oregon, it's kind of cool. It did give me the Wolf Creek vibes a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
it did. Because Wolf Creek is kind of in a valley like that, just not as high mountains.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the thing. I saw this movie in the theaters. It's a fairly new movie. It came out late, maybe in fourth quarter of 21. But at first, I did not understand the story of the characters, right? You think about the character or the creature and the plot and the story set around that creature, right? So the story around the creature didn't make sense to me at first, but I kind of rewatched it again with a different kind of eye, I guess, if you will. And if we think about, again, like we've said, where this creature comes from or how it's generated, it's from greed, gluttony, and excess, right? For those that are, and if you think about that opening scene inside of a meth lab in a mine, I think that's the ultimate depiction, right, of this excess, greed, and gluttony, and just, that whole kind of negative vibe around that. And I think that, okay, looking at that, I'm like, okay, maybe this makes sense now. So there's some things that were added in there, as far as the characters go, it's really, really slow, and kind of the plot in general, really slow kind of burn toward the actual big reveal of the creature and the big conflict in this. But you know, if you kind of watch it a little bit, you get some of why the creature was there. I didn't understand the relationship with the brother and sister as part of the movie. You know, the whole plot line, I didn't catch why that was connected in there, but and why the need for that. But that being said, when you did finally get to the big reveal of the creature, I thought it was well done, well designed. You know, I didn't think they you know, kind of spared too much on that, but the kind of big conflict or the fight scene was a little underwhelming. I think when they finally got to that part.
Yeah, it was.
I was expecting a little bit more, you know, cunning. Rob used the word cunning earlier, but and then in the end, you know, that during that conflict, the part, now I know Scott hates this, but I'm going to say it because it is a fairly new movie. So turn off your ears. Spoiler alert if you're going to watch it. It is a new movie.
We're going to start a new rule. Anyone that says spoiler alert is going to get fined. I'm going to put a jar. I'm going to put a jar on the table, and it's going to say spoiler alert.
$5.
$5 every time someone says spoiler alert.
Let's qualify that. If we watch a movie within the last year from the date that we record, we should say spoiler alert. I feel like that should be an option.
That's $5, Danny.
Maybe, yeah, just put that into the intro. By the way, there's spoiler alerts. And then that way we don't have to remind people.
That's $5, Tab.
But then I'm saying the word.
Scott,
damn it.
What word?
I'm already $5 in.
Well,
what if I say alerts, there's spoilers?
That same thing.
That's kind of
okay,
different.
well, so she killed the other brother in the end. There you go.
Because he was,
Danny, I haven't watched that part.
he was changing.
Oh, sorry.
Now I'm not going to watch it.
Well, you know, I don't think she
I just
actually
screwed it up
killed.
for Jesse.
She didn't kill the boy. The boy was already dead, I think.
No, he was changing to the.
Yeah, I know. He was changing. At that point, I think you're dead. There's no coming back.
Spoiler alert. Jesus wins.
Double kill him.
That's like $10.
I mean, the way the movie ended, though, with the
plot spoiler.
That's like,
plot. There
we're
you
up
go.
to like $20 already.
No, I said plot spoiler. I didn't.
We're gonna make this.
The other.
We're
Okay,
gonna make
that's
this
$250.
round trip to Homa and the other place here. We're gonna make this out of this episode. Pick up the cost for that, but.
Yeah, here's some plot revealing information.
Nice. I thought it was overall a good movie. I didn't like the way it ended though. You know, there was the need for that cliffhanger in there, and I don't know. I just kind of, the other thing too, it was a little predictable in the parts where you have your, you know, insert your typical, not typical, but insert your kind of expected native person in the movie saying, hey, it's this creature, and everyone's saying, no, it's not a real thing, we don't believe you, except for the one person, and then that's the person that goes out and kills the thing. You know, it's just, it's a little too expected and typical of a lot of different movies, you know, so, but overall, I thought it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
So, Danny, as a person that went out to the theater and paid money to see it, if you could Mandela effect this, would you do it again?
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I thought, again, even for the plot, some parts being confusing, and also some of the weird choices by let me just go into this house and see what's happening over here, you know, knowing it's I don't know. So, some of the poor choices by some of the people in there weren't choices I would make, but overall, it was entertaining. It served its purpose.
I thought the special effects were pretty good. The way they, I don't know, where they showed the bodies, it was pretty pretty realistic.
Oh, yeah. They did do a really good job on their move.
I thought it was really cool on the finale there, and I will say this is a warning. This is a plot reveal. I would say that it was really, like I explained a little bit earlier, she cuts the heart out and it like burns her hands, and I don't know. I thought that part was pretty intense, but kind of, like Danny said, underwhelmed. I thought it was going to be more to it. But it was actually good for the little short bit that they did.
Anything else?
Scott, what do you think?
Yeah.
What do I think about what?
The movie? Yeah. Don't you love it when you put on the spot?
We did hear from you earlier a little bit, but I thought we'd just see. We heard a little bit from you earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sounded a little different, but
no, I actually saw it in the theater when it first came out.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I felt that it was a little dark. It was hard at some points. Yeah, I had to squint to see what was going on because it was just so dark.
Did you have both your glasses on?
Yeah. I recall when I was first watching, I was like, that really looks like Oregon. And then I realized that it was filmed in Oregon, which was actually kind of cool.
It was actually Canada.
Yeah. I think that the story around the creature didn't make a whole lot of sense. Almost a little predictable. But when you take into totality the creature itself, when it's greed, all of that stuff, and it's centered around like the opening of the meth house, and you could really see how something like that could survive with that element. Yeah, it sort of fed the creature. The negative vibe fed the creature. I think there was a little bit of a slow burn towards the reveal of the creature. Definitely the fight scenes were a little underwhelming. I was expecting more like a Godzilla versus Mothra. It was kind of predictable, I think, throughout the whole thing, but I enjoyed it.
That's probably the best movie review you've ever done.
Well,
Damn.
Usually it starts out with undied. You guys ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it. On.
Northwest Curiosity Society's Gear Review.
Going to talk a little bit about a gear review, Danny. We're going to discuss low light photography. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, so let me qualify this and say first off, Danny is definitely not even an amateur photographer, but...
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
It's a little weird you're referring to yourself as Danny.
Yeah.
That's almost...
Did I say it wrong?
No.
It sounded presidential.
No,
for sure.
You're talking about... You're the one giving the gear review, and you're like, first of all, Danny is not a expert.
Yeah,
it was almost
I'm
kind of serial killer-like.
I'm telling people who I am. Oh, sorry. I am not even an amateur photographer. Is that better?
Sure. I was fine with the first version.
Right?
I know. It just seemed a little serial killer-like. But anyway, go on.
Well, so I am trying to learn myself a little bit more about utilizing cameras and different things like that. So I came across that one of the things that's always been on my mind is how do we improve low light photography? Because generally a lot of these investigations we find ourselves in, we're in low light situations. So speaking specifically at photography, because videography is a little bit different, some of the tips that have come across improve the quality of your photographs. First off, this is related to your typical kind of DSLR / mirrorless type cameras. It could work with some of the point and shoot cameras if you have the ability to manipulate the settings manually on the cameras, but these are specific manual settings that you could change. And the first part you look at is what they call the exposure triangle, which consists of the ISO or the ISO.
What does that stand for?
I don't know what it stands for. I've been trying to figure that out for a while, so I'll have to re-Google it.
It's probably got sensor in there, or image sensor or something.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
The aperture, which I'll talk about these here in a minute, and then also the shutter speed. So looking at the ISO, that is a setting on the camera where you can basically brighten your shot, if you will. Now, the brighter that you set, or the higher level that you set on your ISO on the camera, the more, the brighter the picture will be, but the more what they call noise you introduce into the photograph. So noise is referencing like distortion or different things that make your picture not as high quality as you might want. So there's a fine line, and some of this you'll have to play around with and balance with the other two parts of the exposure triangle. But ISO will generally brighten your picture a little bit more. Again, though, the higher you go, depending on the type of camera you have, the more noise you'll have or distortion in that picture. Aperture is related to the width of the lens that you use. So most of the time when you're talking about low-level settings, you want a wider lens and get it open as wide as possible.
Kind of like how your eyes work. The pupil of your eye.
Right. You want to open that as wide as you can and leave it. Well, we'll talk about shutter speed here in a sec, and that's actually a good reference, is thinking about the eye in these, right? So aperture speed, you want to get that open as wide as possible. With regard to your shutter speed, one of the kind of recommendations I've come across is that you want to match your focal length. So if your focal length is, as an example, 50 millimeters away, your shutter speed shouldn't be any slower than 1/50 seconds, right? So speed of which your shutter is actually open and closing is your shutter speed. So if you think about blinking or opening that aperture for that length of time, that captures your photo. Now, the slower your shutter speed, if I understand this right, meaning it's opening and closing at a slower speed, if you're moving around and things like that, you could start to capture some blur, things like that. So you might want to consider using a tripod, especially for those longer exposures, that you can stabilize your cameras and, again, move that around less, so that, although you can create some pretty cool effects if you're using that wide or faster or longer shutter speed with the cameras as well, create some blur, things like that. So also
or lighting effects even.
RAW.
You can do some lighting effects. Take a flashlight.
A lot of times people kind of shy away from, especially in the settings of the places that we kind of get to. Again, we've talked about this a little bit, why we investigate in the dark versus the light, things like that. But some people shy away from actually using lights in the area to either see and or help capture those events. I think it just adds to the ambiance of the investigation. But if our goal is to try and capture potentially something or in the shadows, things like that, which be mindful of shadows if you do have lighting, by the way. Maybe those shadows from the lighting aren't necessarily the things that malevolent spirits or things along those lines. Ghost of interest. So anyway, also consider shooting.
What the?
Thank you. All right. Consider shooting raw footage, which removes some of the compression, is what I understand. And then you have the opportunity if you think about like a Lightroom, right? You have the ability to use digital features nowadays to correct and or enhance inside of the post process. So doing some correction on cameras, things like that. Again, this is primarily related to DSLR/mirrorless type cameras, or those cameras, even the point and shoots with the ability to manipulate the manual settings. Sometimes the manual settings on those point and shoots, you can set it night mode or action mode or whatever. They're trying to get to a generalized setting that will help you capture some of these things. So what do you guys think?
That was very technical.
It was.
Is that a setting that you can flip on the camera, or?
Well, is there? Yeah. How about like a beginner camera? Do you have any products that people?
Can we do that with Scott's camera?
Yes. So Scott's got a DSLR camera, and you can manipulate the settings on there manually. But even some of those DSLR cameras have just generalized settings where you can say, auto or low light or action or whatever it might be, right? And that is just a base setting for the exposure triangle, trying to get and capture the best setting possible on there. But you can manipulate the individual settings on those cameras to try and get the best exposure possible out of that. Right. Also, I think those settings usually default to some sort of compressed file. Again, it's not a raw file.
Like a JPEG would be compressed.
Right, exactly.
And, I don't know. What are the other formats?
Lightroom thing.
Hey, Rob, we're not interrupting you or anything, are we?
I think he's doing research on cameras.
Was trying to.
Yeah. Videography, side note, is a whole different ballgame, because now you're talking about things moving in the environment, right? So it becomes a little bit more challenging. And at that point, you're probably going to have to add in some additional lighting
or
to get and capture.
Or like infrared.
Mm-hmm.
Well, take a look at that.
Infrared.
Take a look at this, Danny. We've got a brand new Canon HD camera that we picked up.
4K.
4K. Yeah. It's got infrared. We'll have to
Nice.
play around with it. We'll do a review on it, but looks pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty. That's a nice camera, and it's not that giant monster that we have.
Right. Nice.
So it's got audio jacks.
Tapes on the side.
Yeah, it's got
mic jacks and wireless audio, and
nice.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna take us a year to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it home.
Stabilization. I think it has stabilization on it too.
You'll have to send me the model number. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll have to take it home because it'll take Scott 5 years to figure out how to turn it on.
Is Jesse being an asshole?
All right, guys, ready?
New leaf.
You guys ready to move on?
Let's do it.
Northwest Curiosity Society brings you...
What the was that?
Well, there's certainly no shortage of the pheasant back mushrooms out here. You can see here's one, and then one over here. They look really nice. And then just looking around here in the distance, that tree has a bunch, and then this log over here has a bunch. Take a walk over there. These look pretty big.
I've seen this.
Yeah, look how big that one is down there. It's got to be about 12 inches across. And this one looks like it has a bite out of it. And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh? I think it's time to go.
So I'm assuming he's a mushroom hunter?
Yeah, so this is Tomorrow's Garden, YouTube.
Does he say where he was?
His handle, Tomorrow's Garden. Yeah, he's a mushroom hunter, and he's just sort of explaining various mushrooms that he's coming across, and here's that Wendigo scream. I'm not seeing
Bigfoot
where he was when this was.
Sounds like he's from Canada a little bit.
It doesn't.
It looks like a rainforest. I think if I remember the video.
Time to go.
That's
time to go.
That totally reminds me of Tab.
Yeah.
He hears this. He's just standing there hunting mushrooms and this long scream, and he's like, "Oh boy,
boy,
dude! If that was me, I'd be tripping over a lot. I'd be booking it."
Yeah.
Especially out there all by yourself.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus!"
Here we go. One more time.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh?
It sounds really human at the
I think
end.
it's time to go.
Yeah,
it does. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
It sounds pretty convincing at the beginning, but at the end.
Yeah, it just sounds like a guy yelling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Wendigo has and maybe that was him possessing.
Are they saying that's a Wendigo? I'm sorry, Danny. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that was it.
No, they're not saying it's a Wendigo.
Oh.
Strange sound while mushroom hunting.
Oh, okay.
But I came across another alleged Wendigo sound. It sounded a lot like that, but I couldn't get the other one to play with any sort of volume clarity. So I chose that one instead. You guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Our on-the-spot reporter, Jesse. What do you got for us, douchebag?
What?
I mean, what do you got for us, sir?
Come on, Scott.
I thought we were saying stuff nice about each other.
Well, thanks for that, Scott. I appreciate your kind words.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
In the news, is an update on something we've done an episode on, the missing Malaysian flight 370.
I heard about it.
You heard about this? So there's a British engineer who believes he solved the mystery behind the missing flight by using radio wave technology.
He's a ham radio, right? Operator?
I think so.
Or hobbyist?
Yeah, his name's Richard Godfrey. And he believes that he has used radio waves to track the flight by the disturbance in the radio waves, and that it was the only plane within the hour's flight of its location. So he believes that it's the missing Malaysian flight. I'm sure most of our listeners know about that. It happened in 2014. There was over $100 million search to find the plane. And despite that search, the plane was never found. And a lot of the relatives of the people on that plane don't think it was an accidental crash. They think something else happened. But he believes that it crashed due west of Australia and is about 400 meters down on the ocean floor. How many feet is that, Scott?
4.
So about 12,000 feet.
Easy peasy.
So he believes that he tracked it, and the original investigation believed that it was like on autopilot, went a straight line, and then disappeared. But by using the radio wave disturbances, it made like all these weird turns, 360-degree turns, almost like it was in holding pattern during different parts of the flight. And he believes that tracking that flight supports the theory that the pilot was in control and deliberately took that plane off course.
And real erratic behaviors, yeah.
Yeah, real erratic, changing direction 180 degrees and then a 360-degree holding pattern and then a different direction. Like maybe he was trying to contemplate which way to go.
Suppose there's a possibility it could have been lost. Maybe some lost communication and lost, I don't know. Although they do talk about that there were intentional things that were intentionally turned off.
Right.
And that too. So I guess that in totality.
And he says that this could explain the delay, and that he also thinks that the pilot was in contact with the Malaysian government even after they said that they lost contact with it. And he reached out to the government, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're really busy right now.
Conspiracy.
We can't really discuss it." So there are people that do lend credence to the technology and the radio wave disturbances, but they're not really sure whether they want to send out the money to actually go to the location where he thinks it was, and he thinks that they actually missed the plane on their search. They didn't see it down there.
Not quite, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if they pony up the money.
Yeah, if I understand right, the way the technology works, it's almost like if you see, like you've seen cars in like those wind tunnels with smoke or something going over the top, right, to show the aerodynamics. If I understand right, the radio waves show that distortion as something moves through it, almost like a wind tunnel.
Right.
As it's moving through it, kind of, and that's how he was able to track the flight pattern. I think even overlaid it with what we know of not only when it took off, but to the point where we lost communication, but then it was also picked up by the military satellite for another, I can't remember how much longer, but that mapping of the disturbances in the force, right, and the radio waves aligns with what we know of the pattern up until the point where it disappeared.
Yeah, he says that he has over 160 distinct disturbances in the radio waves, and that there were no other planes around there within an hour's flight of that other plane, so that it could only be that plane if it was in fact an airplane. So
or a UFO.
I was going to say that aliens.
Yeah, a cloaked alien, unidentified vessel.
Yes. That's what I think.
So, do we have any? How do we get that technology? Because maybe we can track UFOs to that point.
What, cloaking?
Unidentified aerial.
No, track radio wave frequencies. I don't know. That'd be expensive.
I'll click on this guy could do it himself.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Amazing episode. It seems
Already?
like it's
We
been.
have to say bye.
Seems like it's been forever since we've been in the studio. Although I don't think it's been that long. But it's good to be here. Rob, too bad you couldn't be here.
Thanks for showing up.
You missed out on biscuits and gravy.
And some breakfast burritos. It was yum. Anyway, we got a super exciting episode coming up. Super exciting.
I can't wait.
What is that?
It's so exciting, I don't even really want to discuss it. I don't want to get people like too worked up, too early on.
Yeah.
Is
in
it scary?
anticipation of our... Oh, it'll be scary.
Okay.
Or
I'm in.
Yeah, we don't want
I'm
to.
all in.
I'm all in.
Spoiler alert.
We forgot to call Pete.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pete.
He's not. That's gonna be hard. He's not alive anymore. He died.
You know what? Let's call Pete.
At least we're trying.
Oh, we're skipping out.
Yeah, we're not. We'll do this outro in just about 2 minutes. But let's give Petey a call.
He's not gonna answer.
We got to say goodbye.
Yeah, he's not.
No, let's try.
Okay.
I literally I followed him home last night.
Go.
I'm telling you, he's not gonna answer.
Let's see. Who's he going to answer?
You don't want to say that on air.
Oh no, I'm saying it.
He'll
Maybe
answer,
have
Jesse.
Danny.
He'll answer.
All right.
No, we can't totally rule
we all
him
have to say
out
goodbye to
anyway.
Petey.
All right, hang on. a
Our
second.
audience members want to hear Petey's voice one last time
All right.
before we kill
I
him.
think we should say goodbye necessarily. I think he could still call in.
No,
Maybe.
no,
But
we're done. He moves, we're done.
All right. Let's
Getting
give him a
voted off
call.
the island. All right.
Come on, Petey.
You can do it, buddy.
He's not gonna answer. I'm telling you.
Answer.
Hello.
Oh.
I'm all in.
I'm all
What happened?
in.
All in.
Did it go to voicemail?
No
Petey.
Petey.
Hello.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
sir. How are you?
Hey.
Hey. Oh. Hey. Hey. I'm all in, guys.
Well, we're literally at the last 30 seconds of the podcast, so you're not all in.
Literally.
No.
Partially.
It's not.
Just the tip.
So wait, what?
Just the tip.
Oh. We did want to see what's going on with Petey. What's new? What's the new? What's the haps? What's shaking, Bacon? What's going on?
Well, I'm going to be heading down to Albuquerque, and in the lieu of that, I think I should try to find some haunted places down there for NWCS to go check out.
No.
and for
no.
all you single ladies, he'll be in.
I like it.
The bad news, Pete, is you're not gonna make it to Albuquerque.
You're leaving on the you're leaving on the 24th, and we have plans for you on the 22nd.
Okay, perfect. I am leaving on the 24th. That's exactly the day that I'm leaving. So
No, 27th, and
The 27th, he'll be in Tonopah.
and the
no, it's the 24th. I think it's the 24th.
We'll meet you in Tonopah.
We'll stick with that.
Arrangements have
More
been made.
specifically, the parking lot of the Clown Motel. So we're just a hop, skip, and a jump from the graveyard there.
You guys realize that we're doing this live right now, right? Like this is,
there's a disclaimer.
We'll fix it in post.
some listeners might find this suspicious behavior.
We'll fix it in post. That's your limitation.
We have
Warm up.
editing. We have editing abilities, Pete.
We have the technology.
Yeah, so you have means, opportunity, and intent. Got it.
Means, opportunity, and motive. Mom. Hey, we're gonna miss you, man. We're gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you guys. I'm gonna miss you guys too. I really am. And in all honesty, though, finding some haunted places in New Mexico, I think is gonna be fairly easy. So I think we'll end up finding some new spots that we've never been to down there before, and hopefully some really good things to check out.
It's only about an 18-hour drive in base camp.
Oh, only an 18-hour drive. Yeah.
No.
Should we round up a little bit? 30?
30.
Yeah. For the stop for chili cheese dogs along the way.
Oh, you have to get chili cheese dogs.
And you have to account for the topography too. You know, we're gonna run into some hills, I'm sure.
Of course.
Well, it's good to hear from you, Petey. You want to do the outro with us?
Yeah, I'll do the outro with you.
Take two.
Awesome.
We got an amazing episode coming up for our next episode.
Is it going to be scary?
It's going to be phenomenal.
What is it?
I'm not going to say what it is. Not saying what it's. It might be on Deja Vu.
Yeah.
No.
Might be on
He
Deja
wouldn't
Vu.
want to. He wouldn't want to.
That is scary.
Thank you, Jesse, for being in the studio. Thank you, Tab, for being in the studio.
No, thank you,
Rob,
Scott.
Whatever.
Thank you.
Danny. and Petey for joining us for the last 30 seconds of the podcast. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Appreciate it, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks for answering the phone.
Yeah.
That's the first time.
And thank you for being our friend.
I'm all in, guys. Just remember that.
I'm all in. We're going to miss you when you die.
That's what they always say.
All right. Until next episode. Nighty night. You're going to die, Pete. Bye-bye.
Oh, my God.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.
Bye, Petey.
Bye, buddy.
See you guys.